Good morning and welcome to the National Newspaper Publishers Association's Let It Be Known. It is Thursday, April 7th, 2022. It is opening day for Major League Baseball. Tiger Woods is teeing off at the Masters, and most importantly, it's confirmation day at last for Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson, who by the end of today will become the first Black woman on the U.S. Supreme Court, and we at Let It Be Known will bring you that historic moment when it happens. This morning, we are joined by Cheryl Smith, the publisher of Texas Metro News and iMessenger Media, and Perry Busby of the West Side Gazette. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Good to see you both. Lots is happening today, so let's just get into some headlines to kick off this Thursday morning. The Hennepin County attorney announced Wednesday that no criminal charges will be filed in the death of Amir Loks, a 22-year-old man who was shot and killed by a SWAT team during a no-knock raid in February. County Attorney Michael Freeman and Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison said in a statement that there is insufficient admissible evidence to file charges in the case. Specifically, the state would be unable to disprove beyond a reasonable doubt any of the elements of Minnesota's use of deadly force statute that authorizes the use of force by Officer Hanneman. Their statement continued, nor would the state be able to prove beyond a reasonable doubt a criminal charge against any other officer involved in the decision making that led to the death of Amir Loks. If you recall, Cheryl and Perry, police went into basically it was the wrong home. Amir Loks was not on the warrant. He was startled by them barging in. He went to reach for a gun, or at least they say he reached for a gun, and they shot and killed him. This stuff continues to happen, Cheryl.
You are definitely right. And I was just thinking of all the oops moments that we've had even over the past 20 years. And you say you don't wish that on anyone else, but why does it always happen with us? Why are these oops moments always happening with us? I do know that, as you look at a person's history, background, and the work that they've done, when Keith Ellison says something, I tend to believe it. And I do understand that there are things that we don't see. But I also think there are people out there that say they want something. They want something. And on one hand, do you push forward knowing that the case has holes in it? Or do you try to squash it now and settle in civil court?
Yeah, the thing about it, the case, the holes in the case is really based on the statute. That they are able to go in with a no-knock warrant, Perry, and in this case, Amir Loks had nothing to do with that warrant.
Not at all. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. When you begin to look even at some of the discrepancies, even though they don't change the outcome,
Right.
you tend to understand why there is so much disbelief or an idea that there is some kind of cover up happening in the process. On one hand, you look at a police report and they are meticulous in what happened, but they are meticulously wrong at the same time.
I like that. Yeah.
You say meticulously and maybe strategically, because just like police officers were told to certain buzzwords to use when you're testifying and everything, we can't be naive enough to think that they aren't even thinking about how do you fill out that paperwork,
Right.
so that it presents a certain scenario. And interestingly, I feel kind of bad about this now that you say that, Perry, because I teach a class and I was telling the students how, I was in a position to do basically the same thing with their grades. That I could create a scenario that says, hey, you missed 3 times, or you turned this in late, or you did something. And there are ways to manipulate a system. And, and this, I know we're going to talk about Judge Jackson later, but that's what she said in testifying, that a lot of things have to do with, like you said, Perry, what is in law, what is in place, Stacy, that you have, that we're fighting against, and that's why we need more of us involved in the system, more of us challenging the system,
Right.
and above all, voting.
Exactly. You know, I mean, and I say, you know, we talk about these no knock warrants. Uh, on one hand, you know, and I'm a great fan of counterterrorism mysteries, and or we hear about how so much strategy went into Osama bin Laden. I think if you get a no knock warrant, that should be across the board, no matter who it is. That, you know, you should have those fail safe opportunities for these guys to say, well, we announced who we were before we crossed over the threshold, and the video shows that that's not right. How many other mistakes did we have happen in this, but yet those mistakes fall within the law?
Yeah, and also this morning, and we'll talk a lot more, I'm sure, in the coming days about Amir Loks, but also this morning, Milwaukee has its first black mayor. The voters have elected Cavalier Johnson as the city's next mayor. He's a Democrat who currently serves as the city's acting mayor and is the first African-American, of course, as we said, elected to that post. He said in a statement, this city, for the first time in our 176-year history, has elected its first black mayor. We did it. He's 35 years old and also the city's first millennial mayor. He defeated former Milwaukee Alderman Bob Donovan in the special election for a shortened 2-year term. He took over as the city's acting mayor last December after the incumbent, Tom Barrett, stepped down to become the U.S. ambassador to Luxembourg. Johnson and Donovan, who previously ran for mayor in 2016, were the top two finishers in the February primary election. So, Cheryl, Perry, Milwaukee joins the ranks, the first black mayor of that major city.
A major city indeed. And the thing about it is, I was just thinking about that because, you know, Dallas has only had 2 elected black mayors.
Mm-hmm.
And you look at this city that we're in. For me, I just, like, when I think about Milwaukee, I think about a lot of change that has to come, and I'm hoping that that's what we'll see, because when you look at education, unemployment, housing issues, Milwaukee is suffering.
Yeah,
and we
absolutely.
get cities when they are suffering.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and this
And
is a
we
young
bring
guy
them
too,
back,
Perry.
and then gentrification
Yeah.
comes, and we're out again. So I'm excited at 35. Young, I don't like to focus so much on the age as what work has to be done, but I'm excited about what could happen in Milwaukee.
Yeah. No, it's an exciting time, and it's also, I think, a great opportunity for Mayor Johnson, because Milwaukee is now about to receive, I think, what is it, about 200 million in COVID funding. So that will help in terms of some of the initiatives that he has. But he also does not come in with the support of his with a lot of support of his African American contemporaries that sat in the Common Council. So we hope that he can navigate this honeymoon, because it will be short.
Well,
It will be. Well, you know what? He has 9 other siblings. Maybe they can help him out a little.
it's a
Right.
family affair in Milwaukee. Well, today,
Yes.
as the Senate is poised to send Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson to the Supreme Court, Democrats on the House Judiciary Committee had planned a closed-door meeting to discuss how they might further respond to conflict of interest accusations against Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas and his wife, the conservative activist Virginia Jeannie Thomas. Reportedly, the meeting had been planned for today, but a committee spokesman said that it is being postponed, likely until after lawmakers return from a 2-week congressional recess on April 26. Some Democrats have already suggested drafting legislation to create a code of ethics for the Supreme Court, which the court would likely see as not being up to constitutional muster, a lot of people say. but also Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and others are now saying that Judge Thomas should be impeached. Um, Perry, impeachment, how tough would that be?
Impeachment, I think, will be tough, but it definitely should be on the table and it should be discussed because these are serious crimes that we're facing, and when you look at Judge Thomas's wife and her history with cults. And trying to move beyond that, it looks like that she's very much a candidate for a lot that has gone on.
Yeah, Cheryl,
Yeah.
I've been asking this question. So the actions of Jeannie Thomas, is Clarence Thomas, is the husband culpable for the crimes of the wife?
For all we know, she could be carrying out his wishes. And and there was a movie with Matthew McConaughey, and where he what was it? A Time to Kill. I'm trying to think if that's the name of where the little girl, black girl, was raped, and he told the jurors to close your eyes and imagine this scenario, and imagine the little girl was white. I am so tired of the party system because the people are losing out because whether it's right or wrong, Republicans vote this way, Democrats vote that way, and it is not always the best way. If they closed their eyes and looked at the evidence and didn't say whether the person was Republican or Democrat, everyone would be saying that Jenny should be facing charges, and they will be calling, more people will be calling for Thomas to leave the bench. There is definite, you can not say that so many activities have gone on, but because she's been very vocal, that he does not know about it. And then just like with getting arrested or something, absence of the law is not a defense.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and she has a long history. She's been a
Exactly.
lobbyist and a consultant for conservative groups that are going before the court. So that calls into question any judgment he may have had regarding
Well,
her.
that's the thing that is very frustrating too, because you have people. Lindsey Graham made some very strong comments. The
Mhm.
Senator Graham, I should say, made strong comments, and he basically said, if they were in power, what would happen? And it seems like Democrats keep waiting for Republicans to do the right thing. The Republicans are going to do their thing, not the right thing. They're going to do what furthers them along, and decisions that they are making to pack the courts like they have done. And the impact, I just really feel, what are our descendants going to be saying about what we did during this time when they were running rampant, putting all these judges on benches who are in their mid to late 30s. So, and a lot of lifetime appointments going on. And these are people who are not going to think favorably of us. So you have this Jenny, Jenny, Karen, call her what you want, is she needs to be called, and he needs to accept responsibility and accountability for her actions.
Well, you see the connection there and the visuals that we are seeing here. And as David Youngblood said, Judge Thomas is compromised, and the evidence is his sole dissent in that case involving his wife's text. David Youngblood, again, he says she is a right-wing activist, and we'd have to be blind, crippled, and crazy not to see the conflict. So this is one that more and more is going to come to the fore. When the elections, midterm elections come, this will be an issue as well. So we'll continue to watch it. Also, in the news this morning, a Tennessee police officer who used his stun gun on a DoorDash driver wrote an arrest report saying the man had become argumentative while denying, that he was speeding, refused to hand over identifying information, demanded to see a supervisor, and stayed in his car when ordered to get out. the driver who faces charges of speeding, resisting arrest, and disorderly conduct based on the officer's sworn affidavit record on his phone after he was pulled over. That recording, y'all, of course, which was made public, tells an entirely different story. The officer, apparently, based on this gentleman's recording, the officer totally fabricated his report. And Perry, I guess you were just talking about that.
Exactly. You know, whether it's comply, whether it's, you know, you should have a voice, it has become to an extent that when you get pulled over, you almost need to have your own force shield around you to help protect you. This has, and it's becoming more and more. In Florida here, they stopped two young men just yesterday, and again, one pulled out a stun gun, and the other young man ran. They still don't know what the cause was and why. You know,
Yeah, unreal. And Cheryl, in this case, the motorist, he was calm. He said he asked for a supervisor, which is within his right. He said, I feel uncomfortable. Can you bring a supervisor? And the officer just proceeded to pull him out of the car. This, as we just said, it continues to happen, Cheryl.
Yeah, and that is what is so sad. I do love that there are the Black law enforcement organizations that are speaking out a lot more. And but this has been going on so long, and we need not just for Black officers to speak up, but anybody who is concentrated on doing the right thing. You you can parallel this to the death penalty, and they said the death penalty was a deterrent. I say it is not a deterrent. And the same thing, this same white officer saw his white buddy Chauvin going to prison, saw Amber Geiger going to prison, but they're still doing it. They still think they can get away with it. And it
Well,
is
aren't
just,
they getting away with it too, Cheryl, for the most
they
part?
are getting away with it. And I had thought, and I said, gosh, I need to sit down and hunker down, and we need to start making killing people in public opinion, using our pens, having their pictures, embarrassing their children, and because their children, a lot of their children are their descendants are benefiting from whatever they did.
mm-hmm.
And that's the same way with slavery. So we need to go back and say, okay, we know who the judge was on this, but who's the judge sitting in Mississippi during that trial of Bryant and those folks? Who was the judge who gave 2 years to I call her the taser queen, the police officer who thought her gun was a taser? We need to start putting them on blast, and social media is there that every time their name comes up, it should come up with a picture across there. And regardless of what the court says, the social media platform says murderer.
Yeah, Cheryl, Claudette Perry, the NNPA's executive administrator, says Cheryl Smith for Texas governor. Dr. Chavis is joining us now. Our president and CEO, Dr. Benjamin Chavis. Good morning, Dr. Chavis.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning, Doc.
It's good to see you, Doc. Also this morning, of course, today is the big day. At 1:45 p.m. Eastern time today, the Senate will take the final vote to confirm Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson to the Supreme Court. After all that has happened, all of the rhetoric, the racial animus, everything that went on these past couple of weeks, Judge Jackson will be sitting on the Supreme Court by the end of today. Cheryl, it's more than just a proud moment, isn't it, for Black women? But it's one of the most significant moments we've had in a long time.
And guess what? It elevated the Black man, because you wouldn't believe how many people have contacted me saying they know I'm from Newark, New Jersey, because I'm I'm proud to say I'm a Jersey girl. But if Cory Booker didn't, if the senator didn't bring it home for people, I have women saying, that's my next husband, because they loved how he represented and stood up for her. This is monumental, and I'm just really, really excited and hope and looking. Now I'm looking around the bend for what's on the horizon, because that was tough, but we have to get ready. We have tough fights every day, and we have to remain vigilant. It's good to see you, Dr. Chavez, because where that energy comes from, and I know where it comes from because you've been in the struggle so long, and I'm just glad you haven't gotten tired, because this is wearing me down.
Well, thank you, Cheryl, and I think that today is a historic day. And of course, the movement, we have to always replenish the movement with energy. I spoke at Howard University yesterday, and their class was full of young journalism students who are eager to pick up their pens and become freedom fighting journalists, writers,
Right.
producers, vodcasters, videocasters. And so I think we're going to be able to have a relay race where we can transfer a lot of what we know, what we've experienced, to that next generation who's coming to keep pushing forward. That's the thing. I think Frederick Douglass said it best. Freedom is a constant struggle. It's not a temporary struggle. And so we have to struggle every day. But today is a very historic day. And we're all going to be there to witness the final Senate vote to confirm Ketanji Brown Jackson
and
to the Supreme Court.
And you'll be able to read about it in the pages of the Black Press of America. Perry, how significant? 3 Republicans, Lisa Murkowski of Alaska, Susan Collins of Maine, and Mitt Romney of Utah are voting in favor of this judge. So you'll have a 53-47 vote when it's all said and done. And President Biden will have achieved what he set out and be able to call it bipartisan.
Yes, bipartisan is really diluted these days, right? But I do commend Senator Romney, Murkowski, and Collins for standing up. But this really should have been a unanimous decision. Her record in terms of what is good justice pedigree, she has it. She conducted and answered, and didn't dodge any questions. And so, there's a lot that Congressman Tim Scott did not support her, as well as Congressman Graham, who had supported her previously. And so the duplicity, I think, is what is very stark inside the GOP today.
Yeah, just a couple of notes. Angela Connolly says Cory Booker equals the HNIC. Of course, she says head Negro in charge. I'm paraphrasing, I'm sure. But also a programming note. We will go live this afternoon to bring you that vote right here on Let It Be Known. So tune in. We will have a very special Let It Be Known this afternoon, beginning at 1:30. We're going to take you live to the floor as the vote comes in. So tune in for the historic confirmation of Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson, the first African-American woman on the Supreme Court. Well, in just a few moments, the 2022 Masters tees off. And yes, as we previously reported here on Let It Be Known, Tiger Woods is playing in his first major championship in 2 years and is seeking his 16th win in one of golf's major events. He last won the Masters in 2019, but remains the all-time leader in PGA Tour wins with 82, far ahead of the field. Woods, of course, suffered that horrible injury just over a year ago when he wrecked his car in California, leading to multiple surgeries and his admitted fear that doctors would need to amputate one of his legs. Last month, we were there. The Black Press was there on hand in Florida when Tiger was elected into the World Golf Hall of Fame. So all eyes on Tiger Woods this weekend at the Masters. We're all hoping to see that red shirt on Sunday. Doc, I know you've been taking your swings, Doc. You gonna be checking out Tiger this weekend?
Oh, absolutely. I'm inspired by Tiger Woods. I'm inspired that, again, as I mentioned about the journalists, there's a new generation of golfers coming, black, other communities of color, but also female women golfers, sisters out there, hitting that ball. So it just shows that if given the opportunity, we excel everywhere. I'm not saying that black people are greater than other races. That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is that we've been held down for so long, but when we're given an opportunity, we do excel. And certainly Tiger Woods, people see him as exceptional, but actually he's representative of what happens when these sports, like even hockey now, some of the greatest hockey players are brothers. Can you believe it? On ice, brothers playing hockey. So I think that, we salute Tiger Woods for coming back, resiliency, perseverance, and sheer determination. And better look out for his son. His son is coming up right behind him.
Charlie he's got that swing too. And Doc, you mentioned hockey. We were at Madison Square Garden about a month ago during Black History Month, and there was this video that they showed of all of the black athletes in the National Hockey League, and I got to tell you, some of them will surprise you. They are really dominating that sport as well. Some might know the name Grant Fuhrer, who won 5 Stanley Cup championships as the goalie for the Edmonton Oilers. So you're right there. But just going back a minute, Cheryl, Tiger Woods has overcome so much, and here he is playing in perhaps the biggest golfing event there is, the Masters.
And that's really wonderful. We need our young people to see it. They need to see the greatness, because some people don't believe it unless they see it on TV or see it in social media. So we have to have those images. They didn't think we had loving relationships, whatever they wanted to say about the Cosby Show. They didn't think that we were affluent. And it's amazing what we've had to deal with. You were talking about Tiger, and I just love our sisters out there. So I have to give a shout out to Dawn Staley and say, kudos, and women can coach. And then a good friend of mine was a part of that team with Shaquille and Steph Curry and Mr. Paris, who Donnie Wilson, all of them won an Oscar for the documentary on Lucia Harris. Now, let me tell you, there are people who, when I told them about Lucia Harris and how she was the first and the only woman to be drafted by the NBA, they said, "Oh, I thought Nancy Lieberman." We are just erased from history. So we have to put it back in the forefront, and we have to salute and accentuate the positive. You're going to try to make me as a Black woman bear the brunt of every negative thing that Black people do in America. Let me celebrate the Blackness of the Tiger Woods, of the Dawn Staleys, of the Lucia Harrises, and let me say that we have the Tiger Woods and the Allen Iversons and the LeBrons of the world, and I just think about all the brothers and sisters who are in the belly of the beast, and you have some of the best singers. If you, Dr. Chavis, you should remember the Escorts from Broadway State Prison and their albums. And then you have so much of our talent is behind bars. Or guess what? They've been a victim of the likes of Chauvin and other officers who have snuffed out their life. Well, so we take these wins that we're getting, and we need to celebrate them. We need to elevate them. And we need to disparage the negative comments that we seem to always want to make to balance out and make other people feel comfortable.
Well, you mentioned the best singers. Who has a better voice today, just naturally, than Stephanie Mills? I will challenge you that no one does. And I mentioned Stephanie Mills because Dr. Chavis got a smile on his face. In June, yes, Stephanie Mills will be performing live exclusively for the Black press at the summer convention.
If she sings Home, I'm gonna cry.
Yes.
Well, we will see. But whatever she sings, as she says, she is going to be live. She doesn't do this lip sync stuff. She's, she reminds me of my boy Prince. Never with that lip sync stuff.
Right.
She says she is live, and that is that. She doesn't want to hear it.
And a little bit of breaking news. Right before she performs, she's requested. She wants to have a few-minute dialogue about the importance of the Black press to her career. She's going to do that live on camera right before she sings.
So just join us in June. We're going to give you a lot more details on that as the days come. We'll be in New Orleans, Louisiana, all the good food, and of course, the great Stephanie Mills. So great music. There you go. Perry, we thank you so much for getting up this morning down from Florida. And Cheryl, of course, in Texas, the president. So Claudette Perry says, she says after Governor Cheryl, she wants you to run for president. So there you go. We appreciate you all. Don't forget, special this afternoon. Join us 1:30 p.m. Eastern time right here. Let it be known. Special report. Ketanji Brown Jackson will become the next Associate Justice of the United States Supreme Court, the first Black woman to achieve that. And so we'll bring you right here. This is what the Black press is about. This is what we do. We do breaking news, especially when it pertains to historic Black news. And this certainly qualifies. So thanks for joining us this morning. We will see you this afternoon.